Good morning, guys. Welcome to Ansarkari, and I hope that you all must be doing fine. So, first, let's take up the Hindu newspaper, and later we'll go through the Financial Express. And as you can see, that GIC completes 50 years of its foundation, so you can find out more about it. And it was founded in 1972. So it's the General Insurance Corporation of India, basically works in the area of reinsuring, and you can find out more about it. So as you can see that people are not satisfied with the transfer of few judges, so they are like protesting against the transfer. But we need to find out that do they like really have an alternative to protest against the transfer of judges if they are not satisfied? Do they really can like do this thing or not? And secondly is, what about a judge who has been transferred? He or she, whether they can protest or they can share their dissatisfaction towards it if they're not satisfied with the decision. So let's see how things unfolds further. And this is the important thing that we need to find out regarding this issue. And when we talk about landfills, garbage piling up, waste to energy plants is one solution which is very often talked about. Then olive Ridley sea turtles sighted off the Odisha coast. So they have been sighted near the Gahirmata Wildlife Sanctuary. It is along the Odisha's coast and it is located in the Kendrapara district, which is 150 kilometers away from the state's capital of Bhubaneswar, and it is the world's largest rookery for olive Ridley sea turtles, and their IUCN status is endangered. So this becomes important for the prelims examination. And in the picture, you can see that artists, they are performing, they are enacting a war scene which happened between Mughals and the Ahom soldiers. So they are basically celebrating the 400th anniversary, birth anniversary of the Ahom general, Lachit Bokrapa Khan. And you can find out more about the personality. Then we have, okay, Supreme Court says to the Punjab government that food strategies they kill only the poor people. So poor people, they get attracted because they are cheaply available and it leads to large number of deaths of people. So when we look at the figures, we see that 31,700 critical criminal cases were registered between like 2019 to 2021. So only in 2 years such a huge amount of cases have been registered only in the state of Punjab, and around 1300 illegal breweries they were unearthed in the state. So this is telling the level of corruption that is going on in the state, and the very fact that there are so many illegal breweries that are functioning in the state, it shows that the state machinery is not actually functioning and shows the level of corruption. Then we have another update is that ISRO will attempt the 200th consecutively successful launch of the Rohini, that is RH-200 sounding rocket, and it is a solid motor-powered expendable rocket which is capable of climbing up to a height of 70 kilometers, bearing payloads designed to study the upper atmosphere. So it had lifted off successfully from Thumba. So find out where is Thumba located. And next up in the editorial section, we'll be seeing the EWS judgment. So we have gone through it a lot of times, and today we'll be just focusing upon what was the judgment or what was the point of view of the dissenting judges in this judgment. So basically, the entire article is focusing upon violation of the right to equality, which is at the core of the basic structure of the Indian Constitution. So let's start with it. And for the PTU must be, I know that you all must be aware about this. So it is like 103rd Amendment. It inserted Article 15 Clause 6 and 16 Clause 6 to the Constitution, which permits 10% reservation in educational institutions and public employment for those who belongs to the EWS category, basically who are economically weaker. So this excludes SC, ST, and OBC categories who are enjoying the benefits of reservation under Article 15 Clause 4, 15 Clause 5, and 16 Clause 4. So they held that basically the dissenting judges they held that a mere violation of the rule of equality does not violate the basic structure of the Constitution unless the violation is shocking. Okay, now what is the definition of a shocking violation is not clear, and this is basically not the dissenting judges what they said, it is about the entire judgment. So they have basically upheld the EWS reservation, and they are saying that it is not violating, or a small amount of violation of the right to equality does not violate the basic structure of the Constitution unless it is a shocking violation. So as I said, that what is the definition of a shocking violation? Then the question arises, can the guarantee of equality be violated? And if so, would the identity of the Constitution survive when the judiciary is itself violating the basic structure of the Constitution and categorizing it under a mere violation, that is a small amount of violation, and a shocking violation. So violation is a violation. You can't categorize into a small amount or a big violation or a shocking violation. Then there is a theory that we'll be talking about, which is the theory of intersectionality. So before that, if poverty is the criteria for reservation under the EWS category, it is a matter of record that bulk of the poor in the country they are from Dalit, Adivasi, and Bahujan communities due to the centuries of stigma and the discrimination they have experienced. So maximum poor people in India, they come from the SC, ST, and OBC categories. And when the EWS category, the criteria of it is economic. So how can you exclude the people on the basis of caste status? So this is exactly what is happening, and this has been upheld in the Supreme Court judgment that it is fine. You can exclude the people from SC, ST, and OBC categories on the basis of their caste status for preventing them to provide reservation under EWS category, which is decided on the basis of economic factors. So how is it like fitting into things, and how things are falling into place is really difficult to understand. Now coming to the theory that I was talking about, that is this judgment, the EWS amendment and the reservation, it turns the theory of intersectionality on its head. So the concept of intersectionality, it is the meaning is that it is a lens for seeing the way in which various forms of inequalities they often operate together and exacerbate each other. So basically the theory says that it is definitely possible in our life, in our practical life, that different types of inequalities can function together, they can function simultaneously. And we fail to see how some people they can be often subject to all of the different types of inequalities, and we are excluding people on the basis of certain basis or the factors for providing or for preventing them to provide reservation under other categories. So things are getting, we can say, mixed up over here. And instead of recognizing the aggravated discrimination faced by the persons at the intersections of caste and poverty, the EWS amendment it punishes them for being at intersections. So people are not at mistake if they are falling under both the categories, if they are economically also backward, and if they are socially and educationally also backward. So if they are being provided reservation on the basis of their social and educational backwardness, then why are they being prevented from giving reservation under the economic backwardness? So that is the whole question that is being raised under this article. And even this theory is talking about like different communities, they can come at intersection, they can be poor, they can be educationally backward, they can be socially backward or religiously backward, linguistically backward. So these things can happen simultaneously at the same time. So since the EWS amendment has been upheld, it is leading to the violation of Article 14, 15, 16, and 17 of the Constitution, and it promotes the inclusiveness of all the sections of the society, all these articles together, when applied, when implemented. They are promoting the inclusiveness of all the sections of the society, and this judgment, this amendment, which excludes the people based on their caste, would destroy our constitutional ethos of non discrimination. So we can say that not directly, but indirectly, we are discriminating on economic factors with SC, STs, and OBC people because they are taking the benefits of reservation under the Article 15 Clause 4, 15 Clause 5, and 16 Clause 4, which is for the socially and educationally backward community. And it will open up the doors to only creating more exclusions in future and more violation of equality, promoting more non discrimination and the restrictions within our society, and it may lead to damaging the very identity and the soul of our constitution, that is, damaging the basic structure. So, this was, we can say, a new angle which has been talked about and brought to the forefront by a senior advocate of the Supreme Court. And I hope that you are clear with this point of view also. Now let's move ahead and let's see. So, small development, that is the geo heritage value of Ramsetu. So, it is like being talked about as of now that we require a national heritage status for Ramsetu, and a project has been proposed, that is SSCP project. It can be traced back to the British period, who proposed creating a channel to link the Palk Strait with the Gulf of Mannar. So open your atlases and find out the location, where is Palk Strait, where is Gulf of Mannar, where is Ramsetu located, and it is basically a coral ridge, which is also known as the Adams Bridge, and it runs between the Rameswaram in Tamil Nadu and Thalai Mannar in Sri Lanka. Then this is about data protection bill. We have discussed it in detail more than twice. Now, this article is focusing upon the electoral bonds, and even we talked about that with time we have observed that the funding from the unknown sources via the electoral bonds have increased. So it has increased from 66% to 71%. And this is a starking observation, a starking development, because it has turned things upside down, and this was not what the electoral bonds were intended for. Now, today, the article, it is focusing upon making things more transparent, because we are living in a democracy and transparency is one of the principles behind democracy. So the winner of the arrangement, that is, arrangement is about the arrangement of electoral bonds, the arrangement of the political funding to the political parties, the winner is the ruling party, whether at the center or in the state, and loser is the average voter. So companies and political parties, they could exercise moral leadership, and voluntarily they can disclose the identity of the recipients and the donors, as the state government of Jharkhand is doing. And this is a step in the right direction, moving more towards transparency and robust functioning. When things are transparent, things are clearly visible on both the sides with proper data, leading to more strengthening of the democracy. So this is a good initiative by the state of Jharkhand, and till then, voters they are struck with the ruling party with war chest to resources, being subject to relentless election campaigns, while donors they superstitiously and directly they influence the policy. So donors obviously when they are going to donate huge amounts of money, they are going to have some kind of influence on policies in their favor, and voters are going to be at a loss when they are not aware which party is getting funded by whom and by how much amount. So, electoral bonds, we cannot say that they have made the system entirely and completely transparent and free and fair. They have done it in bits and pieces, but still we need more reforms in this area. Then, uh, this is a like small observation from my side that after the news of a couple which is related to chopping the body parts. A boy killed a girl and her body parts were chopped in a number of pieces and then thrown away in jungle. So after that, you can see more such news are coming up. So, is it right to highlight such piece of heinous crimes so much in media? So much of when social media has grown so much, there is like things can get viral within seconds. So, is it right to highlight such heinous crimes because it has further led to you know such crimes, the nature of such crimes increasing after that one incident. So that is just one observation from my side. Then looking at the relations between India and UAE. So we signed a landmark comprehensive economic partnership agreement in February this year. And also we are a part of I2U2, which was even asked in the mains examination. So the I2U2 members includes India, Israel, UAE, and United States. So it has an aim to intensify the cooperation in the field of agriculture, digital connectivity, and infrastructure development. Then we have, okay, we talked about this thing yesterday also, that is the guidelines or the framework for the e-commerce reviews. So the center has set the standards for it, and the framework will be rolled out on 25th of November. As of now, it is not going to be mandatory, but after some time, it would be made mandatory. And it is going to be applicable to every online platform that publishes consumer ratings. And the framework, it has been made by BIS, that is Bureau of Indian Standards, and it has been named as the Indian Standard. You can see 19,000 2022. So this can come in PT concerning that these standards relate to what. So it is related to e-commerce review system, the framework, and then further, it is a punishable offense if you violate it, then you can be punished, and a consumer if he or she witnesses such violation, so they can submit their grievances to the National Consumer Helpline or Consumer Commission or the CCPA. And the guiding principles behind this framework are integrity, accuracy, privacy, security, transparency, accessibility, and responsiveness. So these are very key terms, crucial terms. You must be having all these things in your mind, and it can be used in in other answers also. So the standard it prescribes the specific responsibilities for the review author. Review author basically the people who are providing their reviews after buying the product, and the review administrator. So the person who is selling those goods and services is the review administrator. So for the review author, it includes confirming the acceptance of the terms and conditions and providing their contact information. And as far as the review administrator is concerned, they will be including the safeguarding personal information and the training of their staff. So methods of verification of the a, a review author are also be taken into account. Then we have India's first suicide prevention policy. This is a important topic for mains. So the first suicide prevention policy, however, a delayed development, but nothing good if things are working in the right direction, even if they are delayed, but still we are coming up with the things in right direction. So it has been proposed by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, and with time-bound action plans and multi-sectoral collaborations to achieve the reduction in suicide mortality by 10% by 2030. So remember this target can be asked in PT, and the strategy broadly seeks to establish effective surveillance mechanisms. So now we are discussing basically what are the components of the suicide prevention policy. So the first one is effective surveillance mechanisms. Second, establishing psychiatric outpatient departments that will provide suicide prevention services through the district mental health program in all the districts. Third is integrating a mental well-being curriculum in all educational institutions. And fourth, it envisages developing guidelines for responsible media reporting of suicides and restricting access to means of suicide. Then it also focuses on fifth part, that is the developing community resilience and societal support for suicide prevention. So the policy is in line with WHO's Southeast Asia region strategy for suicide prevention. So you can find out more about this strategy also, and remember these five components. These are very, very crucial. And you can also mention what else should be a part of this policy if you find anything missing. Then coming to the data in India about suicides, so more than 1 lakh lives are lost every year to suicide, which is huge number, and it is the top killer in the age category of 15 to 29 years. Basically the youth, so 15 to 29, the top killer in this category. And when we look at the trend over the past 3 years, suicide rate has increased. And obviously, COVID-19 pandemic has been one of the major factors behind the increase in suicide rates, and it went up from 10.2 to 11.3 per 1 lakh population. Then the common reasons includes firstly the family problems and illnesses. So family problems and illnesses, we need to focus how can we reduce these societal things. These are basically the social things, and what steps can be taken to reduce the influence of these two factors on suicides, so that we can ultimately get a lower suicide rate in India and try our best to bring it to the minimum level. Then Qatar and China, they sign world's longest gas supply deal. So it is basically Qatar will be supplying the natural gas to China from the field which is called the North Field East. And Asian countries which are led by China, Japan, and South Korea, they are the main market for Qatar's gas. So three main players in Asia, Qatar is supplying them natural gas. Moving ahead, India has emerged as the second most coveted investment market after US for the sovereign wealth funds and public pension funds in 2022. It is important for your general awareness. Now let's move to the Financial Express. Not much important things from the perspective of mains, but yes, definitely from prelims we have certain important facts. So before that, you need to look that Odisha, it is hosting Make in Odisha Conclave 2022 in Bhubaneswar. And for us, you can have a look in this map the location of four ports which are located in the state of Odisha. So this is Gopalpur port, and it is also one of the most important regions in the state. Then we have Paradip port, then you have Dhamra port and Subarnarekha port. So you can have a look at also the order of the arrangement of these ports. Then investment regions in Odisha includes the Kalinganagar region, then Dhamra investment region and Gopalpur, also the Paradeep. So states are trying to attract more and more of investments. And let's start with the newspaper. What important do we have here for us? So draft guidelines for the GM food has been released by the FSSAI, and it basically proposes mandatory prior approval from the regulator to manufacture, sell, and import. I repeat, to manufacture, sell, and import the food or the ingredients produced from GM organisms. Obviously, it is important because we need to have a regulated approval. Then, okay, Russia tops in fertilizer exports to India in the first half of this current fiscal year because of offering a discounted price to the Indians to the global compared to the prevailing global prices. So when obviously when we are getting things at a cheaper price, we'll be buying more from that particular market and country. So the imports have surged by 371%, which is huge number. And we are basically importing urea and diammonium phosphate from Russia. So this can come in PT. And moving ahead, the National Credit Framework to play a key role. So it is an umbrella framework for skilling, reskilling, upskilling. Okay, I'll repeat. For skilling, reskilling, and upskilling, accreditation and evaluation in the educational and the skilling institutions. Then also, like it is mentioned here, that the national credit framework, it will help in bringing vast majority of the population under the fold of the formal education system and achieving our gross enrollment rate targets. Then, okay, you must be aware about what is Web 3.0. And when we talk about the cybersecurity, India has been ranked 10th in the Global Cybersecurity Index 2020, which is published by ITU, that is International Telecommunication Union, and India has improved by 37 places. So we are moving towards a more safe cybernet, but still like a lot of steps needs to be taken, and 60% of the firms they have unfilled cybersecurity positions, plus we have shortage of skilled cybersecurity professionals also. So these two things must be focused upon to move towards a more safe internet. Then, okay, when we talk about currency crisis, so on what factors, on the basis of which factors can you say, or which factors must be analyzed to come to the conclusion that are we really facing a currency crisis or not? So the factors includes the forex reserves, import cover, second is your short-term interest rates, and fiscal and current account measures. So this can be asked in interview, and the economies of Egypt, Sri Lanka, Turkey, and Pakistan, they have already experienced such currency crisis, but they are still not completely out of it as of now. So you can also cite this example in a mains question if it fits in there. And we see that our forex reserves have jumped and currently they stand at $544 billion as of 11th November. So they can change basically. Firstly, the first factor is that RBI is buying dollars. So that's why forex are increasing. And secondly, because of revaluation that is in favor of the forex reserves rising. So this can come in PT, and also nearly half the increase in the forex reserves is also because of the dollar's fall, and decline in the US yields. So, a little relief for us and increase in forex reserves. And one more important thing is left in the newspaper. So, it is about moonlighting. So, whether you can do two jobs at a time or not. So here it is basically a data is showing according to a survey done on the employees. So most employees they feel that moonlighting is unethical. So what is your take on this? And we'll be seeing that the data shows that the employees decide that 37% of them says that it is important to safeguard against a future job loss. So to have that internal security, your mental security, they agree to doing more than like one job at a time. And second is that it also helps them in supplementing their incomes. So basically we can say that it is somehow linked to the gig economy. And moonlighting, 30 but 31% of the employers they say that staff moonlight as they are not adequately engaged in work. So they are against, because then obviously your focus shifts to different things and you cannot give your 100% or your full concentration to your one job or your work. So basically your concentration gets divided, and obviously then accordingly you will have the results. So this is the data of a survey that has been conducted, and majority of the people say that they do not wish to take up another job alongside their current work. But things are, very changing at a very fast rate, and gig economy is also evolving. So that is the thing. And this is it for today. I hope you have understood the crucial topics, and mostly today we had the important topics from the perspective of prelims, but yes, you need to note them down and keep revising things. Thank you for joining Ansarkari, and do not forget to subscribe to the channel. See you soon in tomorrow's video.